Mr. Herrera, how has your experience been so far?
There is one, before going to that, there is one thing that I forgot to say. That is, you don't have to call me Mr. Herrera.
Oh,
You have to call
okay.
me Pablo.
Okay.
Okay, that is an important part of the teamwork. I mean, it's okay, but I didn't mention before because we didn't have the chance for it. But if you send me an email or whatever, just communicate to
Okay.
me as Pablo. Okay, the experience working with both you, it was amazing. Okay, I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much for your work. I think that is the most important part. I think that you have a lot of capacity and initiative. And I don't want to say the word talent because talent is like a very scary word and definition for me. I rather say that you have a lot of potential more than talent. That you are also talented as well, but you have a lot of potential to keep developing what we are starting here.
Mm-hmm.
On these 3 days, I just try to detect on both of you what are you capable and more, uh, you know, willing to do, but also where can you develop that specific potential that you have. Okay, I will give you a feedback, writing feedback after this, so you can pursue that path if you want. But most importantly, I think that it was the enjoyment of working together in something that, as I say always, that we can feel three of us proud that we created together. Okay, more than this is the right video or this is the right answer. I think that we three were creating things that
Mm-hmm.
I feel proud because the result, and you can also feel proud because the result. So that is what I enjoy the most.
That's amazing. And yeah, to get back to my earlier point, how was your experience so far? Like with the event, is there something you learned new?
Yeah, I mean the experience with the band. I mean, I did a lot of educational conferences in my life. Of course, I have to say this is not exciting as a music festival. I rather do music festivals or film festivals because there are more artistic component involved. For that reason, I try to incorporate that music path, like asking people what is your favorite
Mm-hmm.
band or those sort of things, because I think that adds the component. And I will try to push for next year if we do it again, put more like a music related content, like maybe some night have a concert or propose bringing new bands or young bands, emerging bands, right? Just to support also the artistic scene that I think that is very important. But the conference in general was, we are here because we share with Big Picture Learning or partners this philosophy on centering education in the experience and in the real world learning more than the four words and how things, uh, you know, how the traditional education dictates how education should be, and taking risk. So for me, it's like a being in an environment that I feel comfortable. And then there is one important point that I also noticed. I don't know if you notice this with me, but everyone here are very humble people, right? Even the speakers, they don't are people like, you know, it's my name, oh, I'm the school principal. I don't know. It is not about titles or those sort of things, but it's about humble people that really want to get a better life, not only for the young people, but also for yourself, right? And that I think that I feel really comfortable with that, so I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I think that's very important because I've also noticed that no one here went by a title or like they're this, they did this. Everyone was just like, it felt like a community.
Yeah,
Oh, do you know them? Do you know her? Oh, it was great meeting you. Nothing like, oh, you should have a certain type of respect for me because I am above you or something.
yeah.
And tying this with Teens Media Network, what are some stuff that you kind of try to implement for your students to learn?
Yeah, there is one thing that you say just right now that I always say that I don't like the word students, and I rather call
Oh.
you creators, because when you call someone students,
Mm-hmm.
you are not giving out authorizing that person to really create, and in this case, content that is meaningful and is worth it, or is that can be respect
Mm-hmm.
for others, because the label students immediately position you like as someone that you are learning and don't have that authority to tell any story yet. So
Okay.
for that reason, I rather always call young people creators, because I think that we are creating things together, right? That is one thing. And what was the question?
Like, what are some skills you try to implement or strategies for them to learn?
Yeah, I think that, curiously, I don't really have like a strategy like things should be this way, because I think that each person behave and react in different ways to
Mm-hmm.
different stimulus. So I rather go and say, okay, how I want to see how. For me, the exciting part of life is I want to see how Hasi and Emil are reacting to this, right? When we are doing an interview, how they handle it, right? I don't have a strategy like say, okay, so it should be this way, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that that path should be more or less picked by the creator as I can pick. I mean, I'm 52 and I don't, and I'm improvising on life.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because I think that life is so interesting. Like I just go through a script. You again, as you say before, like at the beginning, I have the questions or whatever. That is the way that you start. But you create the questions not to really then ask that question, but to you feel more comfortable
Mm-hmm.
for giving flow to the conversation, right? So on all the other aspects, for me, are exactly the same. I know more or less what videos we have to create, but during the day, we can, hey, here there is an interesting piece that we can
Yeah.
create. Like yesterday we did the video, the wrap up, and finally we did that video in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, right? So I'm more interested to see what is happening in the moment and figure that out, because I'm more like active and entertained with that than having to follow a script. So I think if of course, then the things that you can improve in a second time if we work together. Uh, Again, the things that I learned is like, okay, I know how Emil is reacting
Mm-hmm.
to certain things. I know that Emil is going to be better to do this tag that Hasi that is better to the other tag. That is comes with working together and learning from each other, right? So those are the things I think that improvement comes through that, through the experience that we are working and creating together. So yeah.
Um, are there any time? Was there a time where you saw like you were also starting to have some improvements in your own skills, because you have a lot of experience around editing, doing interviews. Like, is there something you saw that, oh wow, I learned this new and I kind of can use this to enhance my own skills? And is there something you're still working towards?
Yeah, there is a part that for me, being an educational conference, I also own a business, right? So
Mm-hmm.
part of my work as a CEO of a company is also sell things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sell courses, sell the program, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that there is always room for improvement, because I'm meeting people and I say, okay, how can I, you know, introduce the project without being too invasive that people will think that I'm selling something, but rather telling a story that we have this project, how can we implement this with your young
Mm-hmm.
people in your school, right? So I think that is a part that I always think that I have to improve a lot and actually force myself. That networking part for me, when while covering an event, is like come last, right? Because I most focus on, on the creators for them to learn and make a good, meaningful experience for everyone. So when it's the end of the day and I have to network or sell something, it's like I'm tired, right? Because on top of that, I have to go and sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I had to force myself a little bit more from day one. I bring the brochures. I have to, give more brochures and
Mm-hmm.
business cards. That is a room for improvement. And then also, I also after each event, rather I have the feeling I work with human beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the most important thing. You may be young people or whatever, but I'm interacting with human beings, with persons, with people, right? No, we're not with persons, with people, right? So for me, you can always learn more about working with people,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you always will keep learning skills, and that how you're communicating things for the other person. Don't don't make the other person, for example, get in the wrong way a direction. And there
Mm-hmm.
are many things that are implied. But for me, I was trying all the time to bring like a good vibe environment to work. For example, I don't like to put pressure, but if something is not going well or not well, or something have to be mentioned or improved, you also have to say that as well, and because if not, I wouldn't be doing my job
Mm-hmm.
in a good way, right? If everything is, oh, you're doing an amazing job or whatever, you go back home and say, I'm doing everything right. And Unfortunately, no. So, I mean, we have always to improve on things, right? And I try to see that to myself as well. And many times, I is not just expecting the feedback of the other, but many times I can observe. If I see that, for example, I'm not taking the best from Emil, I will try a different approach next time, right? Maybe I say the things in the wrong way that he is reacting in a defensive way instead in an open way to say I can improve this, right? So that thing I think that you always have room for improvement.
Has there been a time this week that you want to like relive?
That I want
To relive, like if you can experience it again, like a short
Ah,
snippet of it.
of this coverage.
Yeah.
I think that any of the interviews that we did, I really enjoyed, and I think that then particular moments, when we were together, I think that we created a good environment, a good team, and I just enjoyed time together, right? So if I can, relive that in the future, and I'm sure that we are going to have the opportunity, I'm happy to.
Just a quick question. When you were still interviewing us to go here, what did you think about us compared to what you think about us now that we've worked together?
Well, that is a good question. I think that at the first time, when I have conversation with young people to join the project, I don't care. I always say this. I don't care about talent. Okay. Many young people sometimes try to impress you to get the spot, but I'm not as a person that is how you say that is going to get impressed in an easy way, right? So I rather, for the reason for me, it was very important the training, because during the training, what I wanted to see is how you behave in taking responsibilities and communicating. Responsibilities and communication is more important than talent. If you don't have a good communication skills or compromise with things, talent is not going to do anything by itself. So for me, it was like, okay, I have meaningful conversation, that we have this 20-minute conversation. If that conversation reach my intellectual and my heart, I say, okay, this is the right person. I may be wrong sometimes, I may be here and sometimes I come and say, didn't work at all, but it wasn't the case. I mean, I was positive from the very beginning. And also, for that reason, during the training, we also have the possibility to meet each other, and you respond to that very well. The assignments, the videos that we created together, it wasn't about the quality. It was about, hey, let's take a shot at how can we work together, right? So if I can resume in some recap in very easily, I would say that I'm not disappointed with my intuitions from the beginning. Did that make sense?
What advice would you give to teens watching this trying to join or like trying to be recruited into the TMN program?
Well, an advice that I would say is try to see for programs like this, right? Like going to real world events and covering, you are going to learn faster, right? And more effective. Sometimes, you are going to be challenged because, this program is in schools many times or in assignment in the classroom. You rather are challenged. Your challenge is to get an approval from an adult, to get a score, right? But that is not real life. That is a simulation, right? So here we don't simulate things. So my advice is I encourage young people to sign up for the program, because in a very short period of time, you are going to be able to learn much more faster and much more things than being in a traditional program that are going to deliver you a certificate that, by the way, at this point on, nobody asks. No? So my advice is join TMN, teensmedia.net, and join the program, and be ready to, in a very short period of time, start producing content and meeting people and making mistakes and improving and learning from mistakes over and over again.